Got the Mirror this morning, and it leads with Alexis Sanchez. We'll pay you to take him. United to stump up £8 million of Flopp's wages. They're not really paying them to take him. They're paying part of his wages.
They are.
Yeah. They're not saying...
They are.
You can have this for nothing.
Is that what it is?
It is.
Is that what it is?
They're paying Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, to get out of here.
Yeah, you're paying him to get out of the club, to not be part of your club. Imagine paying him 250 grand away, or whatever it's got. What is it?
It's £8 million for the season, so break that down.
Yeah, that's 150 grand a week, they're saying, aren't they? About 150 grand a week.
I mean, it's probably a bit more, because it's really only 8 months between now and... So
yeah,
September, October, November, December, January, February, April, May.
Yeah, it's 200 grand a week. Imagine giving someone like at that level, and it does. And I know it's on a different level with what's happened with Berry this week, but it is madness.
Yeah.
It is absolute madness, isn't it? You're giving someone £8 million, 200 grand a week just to leave your football club.
Repercussion free for the people who made the decision. The Woodwards. And that management
I heard
level,
you talking to Andy Mitten about it yesterday.
No blame. Then I can't understand why the fans aren't out going, you did this to our club.
No.
It's half a decade to rid the club of the bullshit that causes, because everybody comes in. De Gea's not signed his new deal.
Yeah, I know.
He's not signed his new deal because he's looking at Alexis Sanchez going, I want Alexis Sanchez money.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm way better than him.
I know.
Give me his money. And if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to get it somewhere else by running down my contract. So, like...
I know. It is madness, and I heard him talk about the decisions. Di Maria, even if you're talking about Lukaku, it hasn't worked out, of course. Falcao, the other one, and he spoke about the approach or the strategy to the recruitment. It is literally been...
That's in Schweinsteiger.
But it is, Schweinsteiger, I hadn't even thought of that one. But it is literally... they're going to get them, that club's going to get them, we'll take them. Sod it, we will take them. And it's crazy. So
I think this is I don't know, I could be getting ahead of myself, a very significant moment in football and economics and stuff, because we always throw out this idea of like the football bubble and when it's going to burst and stuff like that. Like Rory Smith had a great piece on the New York Times the last day about how United couldn't offload Sanchez because he's on too much money per week. Gareth Bale in the same situation couldn't be offloaded. James Rodriguez couldn't be offloaded. Essentially the Paulo Dybala deal broke down with Tottenham Hotspur.
Coutinho's another one. They're paying his wages.
Too much wages. You've got players who are earning a certain amount of wages per week. They are, in certain areas, still an attractive prospect, but clubs aren't willing to stump up that money anymore, which is, I don't know, is it kind of like offloading a house at the peak of the boom, or just when the crash is about to happen, you're not able to get people paying that amount of money, and ultimately the asking price will have to drop. And I wonder, will that have to happen with players like Alexis Sanchez? Now, granted, you can't just compare like with like here, because you've got the entirely different bubble, which is the income to clubs, which is revenue, which is television money. And I know we did a piece on Deadline Day around the fact that may be reaching a bubble as well. That I don't know, is this significant?
But I think Man United have just offloaded him for the season. There's no deal agreed to take him at the end of the season for Inter Milan. We're going to be in this same position, exactly the same position next year with Alexis Sanchez. He'll be back at Man United. Nobody's going to take him. He'll probably sat on another 2 years. And United are going to have to do the same again, perhaps even pay more money, because it'll be I don't necessarily see him going to Inter Milan and ripping it up.
But that's my point. It's like you are not going to get anybody else to take this off your hands. Even if Alexis Sanchez was a decent player, you're not going to get anybody to stump up with that wage, that we might actually have reached the peak of what people are going to pay per week for players. Granted, the number will get bigger with inflation over time, but I'm not sure if this is going to inflate anymore.
What's Raheem Sterling's next contract? Like, Sterling has started the season spectacularly. Say he continues in the form he's in, right? Which is it a 4 goals in 2 games? Is it 4 goals in 3 games? Five and 3.
So he's going to be player of the year.
Let's say
he's certainly on. I'd look at Kevin De Bruyne as your prime example. Kevin De Bruyne is on probably half what Alexis Sanchez is on, and he's been sat there producing the level he's been producing for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and he has to have, and I'm said, knock on the door at City, but City don't seem to have this problem. They seem to get it all sorted, done and dusted. Well, United's approach is all wrong. So they've skewed their own ballot sheets by bringing him in, whereas everyone at City are on a par with each other. So if Raheem Sterling signs his new deal, he'd probably go on 300 grand a week, probably, I would think. And they're touching everything up, so everything's just going up to the next level on a minor scale, rather than say David De Gea. You're using that example there. David De Gea is on 200 grand a week at Man United. You're bringing somebody else in at double his money. City wouldn't do that. That's why City. I bet City were offering him 250 grand a week, 300 grand a week,
and that was it.
That's the ceiling. Yeah. And United have gone, hang on a minute, yeah, we'll pay you, and that's where the problem is.
500 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I wonder. But do you remember there was allegedly a clause in, and that they never talked about it, but Keane apparently had a clause in his contract that somebody leaked when he was at Man United, that he had to be the highest paid player at the club when he did a deal at one point, so that if anybody came in, they wouldn't be put above him and he would automatically get a pay rise.
Yeah.
That capped where everybody could go to. It works for Man United because it's like, well, Roy Keane's on 100 grand a week. Do you think you're as good as Roy Keane? You're good, not that good.
Yeah.
So like it had this downward impact. I'm sure Keane's representative was like, oh, that's great, that's just going to keep going. But like maybe City have something similar where there's a tier of players, everybody gets Sergio Aguero money, everybody understands that, like, okay, I'm on Aguero money now, I'm as good as anybody else.
And the bonuses as well probably emphasise that with this. So I'll tell you what, if you win the Champions League, you're going to get an extra couple of million a man or whatever, however it's going to be. You win the Premier League, where they're all attainable bonuses, and that's what bumps everything else up off the back of the wages, yeah.
Geez, funny you're 20 now, huh?
Do you sometimes regret that? You just were...
No, because I'm sat in studio with you, Owen.
It's true, it's a very good point.
Yeah. And Jer, of course.
Where did it all go wrong? What have you got for us?
No fun though, is it?
No, exactly.
What do you think, Owen? You're a good man of, good talented, or a good man of knowing music and things like that, yeah? What do you think?
Are you excited?
Very excited, yeah.
Is this a sneak peek from the set?
Yeah, this is a brief intro there, yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, DJ Kevin Killa Kilbane headlines at AIB's Tap House was what the press release says. I love the press release. My favourite bit is throughout the weekend, visitors to the AIB Tap House can also chill out and enjoy 1 cent 99s from Kevin Kilbane's ice cream van. You just need to use the contactless. That's the Tap House. That's
you need contactless to get into the area as well.
Right.
So you need your card. But
now I get
but
it.
You're not. But you won't be charged. Yeah, you won't be charged.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be good, yeah, be good crack.
Is this your second DJ set? Obviously, I was there for the first one. Highly impressive.
Yeah.
And he was
it highly impressive? I don't know.
He was the equivalent of Love Island, going around country nightclubs DJing for about 10 grand a pop, I heard.
Have you? So this isn't your second?
No. It's there's been a bit at home, but no, this is the second official.
There we are.
Yeah.
It was.
The decks. Did you buy like swanky decks?
No. I've got them hired, yeah.
Right.
So it's I've got. Carl is helping me at the moment, so we've got our set together. It's taken a while to get the set together, actually. You know, listening to so many different tracks and trying to put them together, but it's been good. It's been good crack, yeah. It's been really good.
The first gig was amazing because like people were there for another gig entirely. You were kind of like part of the lineup, and there were lads like walking up the stairs and then walking into the room where you were on and looking on stage. And then looking at the stage again, they're like, oh my God, is that Kevin Kilbane behind the decks? What the hell is going on here? The people have completely missed the memo that
half of them were very young and they wouldn't have had a clue who I was. So that was it, really. They were just...
they must have just been pointing at the amazing hand signals that you were doing.
I think that's it, yeah.
So what time are you on Saturday night?
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Saturday, yeah.
9 o'clock, yeah. 9 o'clock on Saturday night. Everybody's like... They've had a good time.
Yeah.
And they are expecting some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably hoping that they've had a very good time and they've just, they've had a few, so they can come over and they won't necessarily realise how good or bad I am.
Just part of the experience.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Who are you supporting?
I'm supporting nobody.
Nobody, you're as a main event?
Well, no, it's not like that. There's across the weekend. There's different people in the tap house as it is. So
Friday night, Female First Friday. Lost and Sound DJs.
But I presume at 9 o'clock you're not the last act. There's somebody on after you.
On Saturday evening, Victoria's
so, yeah.
Secret, Davina Divine and Pixie Woo.
Yeah.
Drags at Dusk, and then Kev after that.
Special guest as well. Special guest. Don't miss a special guest, yeah.
And
that's what I was talking about, Kev. There is a special guest.
Could be a treat there.
99s for a cent.
Yeah.
There you go. Are you pouring them? I mean, come on. We have to see this.
Well, you lads are going to be around anyway on the Saturday,
We're doing the diecast on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
We're doing the diecast live at around about 1:30. Where did I tell you it was?
You said it was on the trailer park.
Trailer park. Yeah. So, where's the tap house? Do you know which part of?
No, I'm not sure, but I'll work my way over to you, lads.
Yeah, do, and we'll tweet out the link for where Kev is doing his DJ set, and we'll drop a pin on our Twitter to make sure that everybody gets to go and see Kev DJ, and goes right up the front, tops off. What are you playing? We should before what are you playing? What type of music?
House.
Right.
Yeah.
Pure unadulterated house.
Yeah, dance and house, yeah. Yeah, it should be good.
9 o'clock. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
We'll get the taxi home at 11.
What, you're not camping, guys, no?
I'll be staying over, yeah. Of course.
You'll be glamping, you'll be in a hotel.
Yeah, so anyone that's going to see I think the Strokes are playing at 11, I think they're on about 11, half 11, something like that. So, yeah, stay around, stay in the tap house, don't go and watch the Strokes. Yeah.
Well, no, don't do the exact opposite of what Kev just said, basically.
Darragh Hay says, my favourite memory is this year getting into the players' lounge before the game and lifting the Liam McCarthy Cup before the throw-in, and then seeing Tip beat their old rivals and get the cup. How do you get into? I don't even know how you get into the players' lounge. These are entries for our competition this morning. And Nicholas Foley says, sorry, there can be no neutrals on Sunday. It's the kingdom versus the evil empire. Population 150,000 versus 1.3 million. Funding 950 versus 18 million. Natural talent versus the money machine. I mean, Kerry raised $1 million in a night in one dinner in New York. 1.2 million, was it?
I don't know the exact figure, but they have to do stuff like that. And they do it very, very well.
Yeah.
If you've got legends, you may as well use them and fly them around the globe. And
yeah. I think Kerry the model probably that most of the counties
are ripping off.
Well, you could try and emulate.
Mayo did all right, didn't they? Mayo did a good night that night.
I think Mayo did well in New York. Yeah.
But like this current crop of players as well, and like the amount of nights with whatever that can happen from ARGA over the next couple of decades is incredible, because they're just. I don't know, has the fable kind of become more interesting because of the near misses over the last couple of years? Certainly the players are endlessly interesting and stuff like that, so there's tons of things that Mayo can do. And yeah, it seems to be one of the only models that you can use to actually get to that level. Like when we spoke about the extra €10 onto tickets for Kerry people getting their tickets through their clubs, the thought process behind that was that, well, we need to find some way of closing the financial gap in Dublin.
You've upset another key member of the Kerry Mafia on Twitter, at Digger_forum says, Owen is on a last warning from Tim Murphy for his headline. He went rogue there and totally deviated from the agreed course after Tyrone. We don't know what will be on, we now know what will be on the Dublin dressing room wall.
Yeah.
Imagine
they blow it up.
Imagine if that actually happened.
That would be brilliant, yeah.
And who cost Kerry the All-Ireland?
I think I actually said in the article that Dublin will probably win. So
you read the headline. People only read headlines, though, and they're not bothered.
They'll clip that bit out on.
Yeah.
You know that.
Just will they leave my byline picture in or out?
Oh, totally. So that the players can find you on Sunday night.
Okay, cool, nice
one.
And looking forward to a pint, lads.
In whatever hostelry you're in. Oh, they'll definitely be buying you pints. Like, oh yeah, well, we weren't. We were kind of it's a bit lacklustre in training, and then we started seeing the clippings, the picture of Donaghy with the get your colours out, all that kind of stuff, and then this lad Owen Sheehan in Kerry's eye.
Yeah, that's what an impact. The face that launched at the 5 in a row.
Paul Ryan says, interesting to note that if it were any other county other than Dublin, all this would not be happening. The Dubs rule the media, apparently. He's talking about the entire day. Is that what that comment is about, Tommy? Yeah, he's talking about our decision. So we did this transfer deadline day, nothing to do with the Dubs. We're going to do it again for the Rugby World Cup, nothing to do with the Dubs. We're doing it because it's the All-Ireland football final. There's like a massive historic moment where either a team stops the 5 in a row or a team does the 5 in a row, but either way it's history. Are you from Dublin?
What?
Are you from Dublin?
Am I what?
From Dublin.
In what way?
Because the Dubs rule the media.
Oh, sorry, yeah. No, sorry, I didn't get that at all.
Are you from Dublin?
Very early.
I'm not
from Dublin. Do we have any Dubs?
Yeah.
Oh, we have 2 Dubs. Okay, all right.
It's quite funny you say that, though, because wherever I've been over the last couple of years, living in Dublin here as well, you're in with taxi drivers and you're going, geez, yeah, you harping on about Mayo. You chose the wrong county there. You chose, you moved to Dublin and you chose. Like, why would I choose Mayo out of any other county? Jesus Christ. There you go, yeah. There you go. Bandwagon. Jump on the bandwagon, Anna. All that success.
If you had to pick one, like, I mean, if you're into at least the journey.
I'm talking about success-wise. Jesus, oh yeah. There's no other county for the crack like that we have. Jesus,
and you're not picking it. You know.
What was your highlight of the GDA year? Actually, was it league final? Was it?
Donegal over in Castlebar. It was brilliant. That was just incredible.
Is that the one where you're in the crowd and the camera catches you? Is that game?
It was actually, yeah. Fortunately, but no, that was a great day. Yeah, I was down in Killarney when we got absolutely off the scale. But I tell you what, Killarney's a great town, isn't it?
Great town. Hopefully it happens again next year.
I wouldn't mind going back down there again next year.
Yeah, no, we should sort that out, actually. James Osborne says, Sterling is overrated, but he's nowhere near Messi or Ronaldo. Has to win a Champions League or World Cup, God forbid. Sterling's very good and getting better. He's at that stage of his career where he's taking the leap again and again and again, constantly.
Well, this is the year where he can do that sort of thing, where he is the key protagonist in a Champions League winning team.
Yeah, and there is that talk you mentioned about where's his next contract going to go. Is it Air Jordan? He's signing a deal apparently with Air Jordan, which will take him on to a whole different level. Certainly commercially, globally, he'll be on a different level as well.
100 million is the figure that was being touted for that one, and that's like a lifetime deal. If you do your side of the bargain, that rolls on forever and ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so loads of those texts that I was about to read just got deleted on me, but that's okay. We'll come back to those in just a couple of minutes. Oh yeah, sorry, there you go. First All-Ireland final memories of a 10-year-old me sitting in the Hogan stand and watching the 94 final between Dublin and Downs at John McHugh, and of Charlie Rabin missing a penalty and being mesmerised by one Mickey Linden. Mickey Linden still the fastest man in his age group in Ireland at this stage, and that's not even a joke. Favourite All-Ireland memory, Jimmy Barry Murphy's goal, Cork against Galway in 1973. Is that the over-the-head one, or is that the football? That's football, isn't it? Jimmy Barry obviously won All-Irelands in football and hurling. That 70s team, that cool white jerseys, I think. Is that the one? Morris Fitz, somebody else is in for their favourite memory. This is going to a vote, really? Well, I mean, it is, because I'm not sure Kieran understands the mechanic. Somebody has to come through. So he's got to come through the group. But, like, he's saying Dublin versus Kerry, he's the ultimate winner all in all.
That's the tone I would get from the tweet, yeah.
Okay, right. Paul Mannion on 12%, David Moran on 2%, Paul Flynn on 17%, Morris Fitz on 69%.
How many votes does it take to actually get you up there?
Well, that would be a couple of hundred at this stage.
Yeah.
How long is it open for?
It's open. This one is open until 10 a.m. and then we go to around 16.
Okay, right.
So
it's going to roll all day.
Roll all day until we crown the winner. So it seems like Morris Fitz has a good chance of making the final.
Who's your money on?
Morris Fitz.
To win the whole thing?
Yeah, not like even just. Yeah, that tweet from Kieran actually kind of just suggested people are kind of like, they're reluctant to debate Morris Fitz not being the GOAT sometimes.
Connolly?
Connolly, I'm not sure if they're on the opposite sides of the bracket or not, but Connolly versus Morris Fitz, they'll probably lock horns at some point.
Will that come down to a head-to-head?
I think it's one of three, really. It's going to be Connolly, Gooch or Morris Fitzgerald.
Right. Okay.
Gooch versus Morris will be a very interesting final. That's the final I'm looking for.
Kev, we didn't get a chance, obviously, in person to talk about how Aston Villa absolutely annihilated Everton 2-0 at the weekend.
Yeah, I got a text on Friday night.
Yeah?
Boom, boom, boom. Fine. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Who was that text from, Kevin?
No, I don't want to talk about that. We'll leave that. We'll leave that for another day.
I tweeted the exact same thing, so that's fine.
Yeah, copy and paste. I don't know. I mean, Friday night, that is the best atmosphere I have ever seen at Villa Park, and that was from going to watch them years ago. I said it the other night. I was on with Joe. I went to watch them quite a lot when I was at West Brom. Used to go and watch decent games there. Played against them, and the Friday night was just sensational. Would
the West Brom games not have been fairly good atmospheres as well?
I only played against them once. We were a Championship club, so I played against them once in the FA Cup, and Villa beat us 2 or 3. I think they did on the day. They beat us handily enough. So no, the atmosphere wasn't up to that level. No, and West Brom's atmosphere was always against Wolves. That was the big game, and Villa was of course Birmingham. So no, it wasn't. It didn't have that sort of edge. The other night, it just felt like they're becoming a bit of Villa, because I don't think Villa were great on the other night. I think Everton were very poor. I don't think it was a great game, but Villa under the lights, it was amazing.
I know it's not supposed to matter, but it seems to matter that the manager's a fan. He talks about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And look, I guess I would if I was in his situation where you're trying to foster something, but like the atmosphere around Villa Park hadn't been great for years.
Yeah.
Like years.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter, but it seems to matter.
Yeah.
Maybe because you have that second city syndrome and you're kind of constantly thinking that you're being disrespected.
But I think the other night emphasised how big a club Villa actually are. That I think, is it 32,000, certainly around 30,000 season tickets sold, most in the history, the buzz that's around Villa now. And I think there has been that little bit of ridicule around Villa for a number of years, certainly in the last 10 years. I know they've had a reasonable success during that time, but no one sees Villa as the club that you and I would see them as, Joe. I don't think anyway. That they were traditionally challenging around the top end of the old First Division and the Premier League. That's the way that it was.
Since Randy Lerner fell out with and sacked effectively Martin O'Neill, it went tits up at that point and didn't recover at any stage. Like, there was nothing they could do, and there were some green shoots when actually was it Kamoli came in and signed a bunch of young players, but Sherwood was the manager and didn't want them.
Yeah.
And like it turned out a lot of those players were actually quite good.
Yeah.
Have gone on to do good stuff. He signed Idrissa Gueye, he signed Adama Traore and a couple of others, and got them for next to nothing. Like there was a strategy there.
Yeah.
But he lost the power struggle. Sherwood wasn't that good a manager anyway, and they completely went to where they went to like the verge of bankruptcy and the verge of being deducted 20 points, and then eventually somebody comes in and rescues it, and Grealish stays, and they get a manager who knows what to do with him, and Grealish and him seem to get on very well. And it's weird how the course of one football club can change so dramatically because the right people seem to be in charge.
Yeah, I say you can't say who is to say that they are in charge. But yeah, you're right. It does seem that way. And the best player I thought on the pitch of the night, I mean, I know Mings played well, but certainly John McGinn. Certainly, if you're looking at someone that's going to go on to the next level, he looks very, very good. Grealish, I mean, whatever we think of him over here, he's a sensational footballer. He really is. I think he's going to go on. And the players that they signed over the summer look very good. I think they have spent a lot of money. They've brought a lot of players in all together, and sometimes that can cause problems. But the nucleus of that promoted team is still together. And as you say, Dean Smith, with what he's done, I know there's a buzz around Villa. There is a buzz there, and I think they'll get better and better now after that win.
I think it only really matters to the fans. Obviously, it doesn't matter to the players that like you're a fan of the club because everybody's a professional. They're just doing their job. But like the fans can understand, and they'll be tolerant of mistakes, and they'll be tolerant of the first two games not going their way, which they were because the atmosphere was still good. But it could go pear-shaped if that game hadn't been a win.
Yeah, that's true, because with not winning the first two games and into that Everton game, they didn't play well the first 20 minutes. They were very. I thought it was a poor match, actually, as saying overall. First touch of the ball in Everton's penalty area came when they scored, but there was a dramatic change of feeling around the place then, and I think they just got better and better. I don't think they played really well. Everton were really poor, should have probably taken something. The undercurrent from that game was that there's serious problems at Everton, I think.
Really, you think so?
Well, I just think that much the same we spoke there about United and the wage bill, and they've taken the wage bill to the next level. The last 3 years has been a dramatic change at Everton, whereas probably the top paid player 4 years ago, you're probably looking at Lukaku on 60, 80 grand a week, maybe. I don't know what he would have been, or around that would have been. All of a sudden now, that's doubled, and it does cause problems because there's so many players now there on 150 grand a week, well in excess of 100 anyway, and it's the expectancy has increased to a level where the performances on the pitch haven't been at that level. They're not. They're competing financially with Arsenal now. They are, no matter what anyone thinks. Pepe going in there will not be on the same sort of money as Gylfi Sigurdsson. He simply isn't on that sort of money. So if you're looking at the money Everton are paying, financially they can compete with Arsenal, they can compete with Spurs, and the level of performances are not at that level. No way at all.
So why are they signing Arsenal rejects? And I think calling Iwobi an Arsenal reject is quite harsh. To be fair.
It is harsh, but you're paying 35 million for a player that's still unproven, really untried.
Would not have been guaranteed a starting spot in the
They've probably
team.
doubled his money. They probably have doubled his money. They've signed Theo Walcott's another one. They've paid more money, or certainly equal to what Arsenal were paying, bringing in Theo Walcott. And realistically, is he going to make Everton dramatically different? And the answer is no.
They look like the type of they look Woodward-esque signings where if Everton had got Zaha, you could see, okay, this is a signature, this is a statement of intent, and then you don't get him, so your backup is nowhere near as good, but you're still now forced, because everybody knows how much money you have, to overpay for it. Well,
Iwobi's the Aldi version of Wilfred Zaha.
The only thing I'd say with Iwobi is he's probably more disciplined. I think Zaha, he's got to play in that freer role, and I think if Zaha's not playing well, then what are you going to get out of him for the team? Because the team is built around him at Palace. Everton can't build a team around Zaha. They can't do that. So I think that you get a little bit more out of him, but certainly talent-wise, you'll get more out of him in terms of the team dynamic from Iwobi. But if you're talking creative and scoring, I think Zaha would have been the better signing, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Liverpool and what you think the ceiling for them this season is, because they've managed to start the season really well in terms of the results. There's still some debate about the quality of their defending so far and what role, how much of that is down to the goalkeeper. We had that conversation with Kenny this day last week where he was concerned about the defence, and I was like, is that not just down to the fact that they have a guy behind them they don't really trust versus Alisson, who's sensational? And he's like, no, it's the style of play, it's the positioning, it's their intent to defend the way they're defending. My concern would be that they've rolled over the form of last season, not strengthened the squad, and that it's going to tell in the final part of the year, like in March, when everybody just gets a little bit exhausted, when teams are playing on fumes, that they don't have anything in reserve at that point because of the travel that their star strikers did in the summer. So they didn't get any time off. So the rest of the team,
as much as I'm saying it shouldn't do maybe at top level sport now with what goes into the recovery, but I do think it's going to have an effect on Liverpool. The way they start the season, I can't believe the level that Salah, Mane and Firmino are at now. I can't, because the three of them are playing at a level which it's been seamless for them, and I think it's going to have to take an effect for what's happened across their summers with the national teams.
Is there any possibility that's just who they are now, and that like they are one of the most exciting attacking trios that we've ever seen, and all Liverpool need to do is just keep this together. Just no one leave, and we could do anything. Like, they could go back to back. Yeah,
I mean, I listened to what Kenny was saying when he was on with you, all about the defence, but I read an interview with Van Dijk. He did an interview in the London Times at the weekend where he said nothing's changed essentially. We're doing the same things. And I think they are. I just think that personnel, maybe Joe Gomez going in alongside Van Dijk, it's just a little. There's not that security there. Where all of a sudden at the weekend they did look better with Matip playing, didn't they? They looked better. I know there's a couple of occasions where Pepe caused problems. I was surprised that Arsenal didn't probably play a different way, but that was how it was. They saw that they might be able to maybe condense midfield, keep everything narrow, and force Liverpool into their strength. Where Liverpool's strength at times, if you're not getting to the front man or the two fullbacks, and that's what Liverpool proved across the course of that 90 minutes. So I think they did look better with Matip. I think probably Gomez will be the better long-term option if Liverpool are going to play the way they play when they do play open. But Gomez is absolutely quick. He's so quick. But Matip's quick himself. Everyone sees Matip sprinting and getting into a race with people. He rarely gets done.
Yeah.
So Liverpool have got so many options, I think, all over. Midfield is the area. They're going to be able to control the game when they're under pressure and seriously keep a ball over, say, for 40 minutes. And I don't think that's the case. It has to be that high-tempo football. So they have to get 2 goals up where it becomes a bit more comfortable for Liverpool.
Or they need to be chasing the game 3 goals down.
Well, yeah, that's maybe true. That's
like, is that not just their identity now, where they've decided that, because they would have invested in one of those players or 2 of those players this summer, those midfielders who could keep the ball if that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Unless they had no money, which doesn't make any sense either.
If Klopp likes to play that way, then maybe you're right. Maybe that, and that wouldn't surprise me if that is the case. That they've got a type of midfield player that essentially the role is play high tempo, win the ball back quickly, and move the ball quickly, rather than try and you see at times you'll see a game when City slow it down, and De Bruyne and Silva seem to be just playing their own game for 10 minutes in a match. Whereas Liverpool can't do that, and they don't have any intention of doing that. So why change the winning formula that they've got?
Yeah, and to evolve the team from what it is now, which is obviously incredibly successful, a record points tally and a Champions League victory, would require signing 2 brilliant players or 3 brilliant players who might not also then supply your front line with. Like, there's very few of those players around.
Yeah.
There's very few De Bruyne Silva partnerships that you can build. So what do you do?
Exactly, continue what it is. I think they might have brought someone else in up front that could have softened the blow if there's an injury. Someone like, I think I read an interview with Mane at the weekend as well. He was talking about the player that's gone into Watford, talking about him. He could have gone into Liverpool. He was trying to influence Klopp to sign him. Someone like Pepe, who Arsenal have signed, probably would fit into the Liverpool mould from the attacking players. But they're not going to pay 75 million for a player and have him as an understudy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the case, is it?
Unless you're doing it now because you know that one of those players is leaving.
Going.
Well,
that's the different. But Liverpool seem to be on a different level where those 3 players don't look like they've got any intention of leaving.
And that's the fear, right? That Real Madrid decide that they want to pay 200 million for
Salah or whoever.
Yeah. Can Liverpool survive that onslaught?
If one of those clubs come in, traditionally, historically, they'll get him, won't they?
But why hasn't it happened? Like, I know the Hazard thing was telegraphed from quite a while away. Neymar, the connections rolled on and on all summer. Seems if you're looking for a front 3 player, you could do a lot worse than looking at Liverpool and just doing exactly what they're doing.
And they'd fit way easier into the pay structure of the club as well. I know that the initial fee would be astronomical to get them in there. But Liverpool, reading the interview that I read with Van Dijk said as soon as it was Liverpool, as soon as Klopp came in for him, which is something that I know privately, the suggestion was City were going to give him more money, Chelsea were giving Van Dijk more money, but as soon as Klopp came in, as soon as Klopp had spoken to him, he wasn't going anywhere else. He wanted to go to Liverpool, and there is that feeling around the club that Klopp had generated something. Players want to play for him, and why? Yeah, they might be able to get 30, 40 grand a week more plus more. And I know it does take that has an impact later on in your career. But the age that they're at, I think they've got more chance of winning trophies at Liverpool than they have of going to PSG or going to maybe even Real Madrid at this stage.
Liverpool are invincible enough.
Liverpool are in a better place, I think. Yeah, I do think that.
The comments then from Klopp during the week, where I was like, oh look, I get to 2022 and then I might take a year out. At that stage I was like, oh, Liverpool need to time down forever, give him a contract. But like, there is the very few cases in world football history where a manager has reached the peaks that he's at the minute, and then been able to reinvent themselves again. Maybe Guardiola's done it, but maybe Guardiola hasn't reinvented himself. He's just got more money and always had a scenario. Bayern, he wasn't really challenged. He won the league every year, but failed in the European Cup. At City, he's had more money than anybody else has had, and also inherited a great squad too. So I don't know. Maybe he has. Maybe I'm being unfair to him. Ferguson obviously managed to do it, but like what we're seeing with Liverpool fans should enjoy, because it's definitely not going to last forever. Klopp will. Yeah, people will work out his style, the next phase, whatever the next cycle in football is.
That's true. And you say maybe enjoy the ride, because certainly if I was supporting a club, there's one manager I'd want, it would be Jurgen Klopp. It would be no matter who it would be. And it does pain you to say, I would genuinely want Everton to do well out of any side in the Premier League. I would, but if he was managing Everton, I think he'd bring Everton to the top 6. I do think he'd get you to top 6, pushing for top 4.
I think he'd be top 4.
Yeah, probably right. I think he'd take it to. He is that difference. I don't think he's full of shite. I don't think that. I think it's genuine with him. The people that you'd speak to around him as well say that with him. I think he's unbelievably driven. I think he's hard on his staff, from lads that I've spoke to as well. Really hard on his staff, because he's driven to get the best out of everybody. But when it's time to actually chat and do the things that any man, woman want to do, he's there for that as well, and it's all genuine with him, and that's why he's so unique, I think, in modern sport, modern football.
Yeah, no, totally. All right, 29 minutes past 8 this morning. The Drive for 5 special is taking over OTB Sports Radio all day from 7 a.m. to midnight, with build-up to the Ireland football final. It's all with thanks to Tech 7. Simply tech it and leave it. Now, some comments about the chat we had earlier on about the residency rule for the Rugby World Cup. Music says, my question is, how far does it go? Because if it keeps going, we'll have a Barbarians team eventually, and Irish players leaving Ireland. Klein is not great. Much rather Ultan Delan. Sorry, Kleiny, nothing personal. Imagine if you're Delan, Irish and proud, and you're better than Klein. For me, I would be tearing up my Irish contract and head for greater shores. That's what will happen. A limit must be put in the amount of players in a national squad. Irish-born players come first. I'm sorry, but we have the talent. If they want to kill the aspirations and motivation of young Irish boys who want to play for the country they love, they have chosen the best way of going about it, says Batcat. And Robert Court says, even as an Englishman, I agree, more emphasis needs to be put on youth development rather than shipping players over to fill gaps. It's destroyed football and is slowly killing rugby. Not sure it's killed football. Football's better now than it ever has been.
Yeah, it is.
Premier League.
I was talking to Lee Carls the other day. I was with Lee after the Villa game. I stayed over with him, and he was saying that within the English structure now, within the FA, I think it's definitely over 80. I think it's about 84% of English eligible players now are dual nationalities. So that's very new to England, that they're having to deal with a different problem themselves now as well. And I think there's a lot of the players that we've
what age group is that?
That's
underage football.
That's across the board.
Right.
That's across the board. Yeah. Wow. I think it might be under 21 what it is, but I think definitely across definitely within the structure. I think it's 21. The next generation, there's over 80% are all dual nationality. Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
And not really reflected in the batshit politics of the day-to-day.
Without a doubt, it's
what the hell?
I know.
It's so weird.
I know.
And
but
you would actually say
quite a lot of hope for the future.
Yeah, and you would say that England will be in the prime position to make sure that the nationality they do pick is England if they're good enough, which will obviously present a whole heap of ironies when you look at the future starting 11 for England or the future squads for England. When you mentioned the current politics, I guess it already. Like, what would the dual nationality statistic, I wonder, have been 10 years ago? Would it have been half that?
Way down. Well, through again, you obviously you're a bit young, but traditionally, when you're looking at English players, English lads through 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. There have been very few with dual nationality, I would imagine. Maybe your granny might have been from wherever, but very, very few would have had that. But now, and there's so many that aren't even born in England now. So come over, Raheem Sterling would be the prime example of that as well, that obviously nationalised from when they were very young, and that's how it is.
The English rugby team has a bunch of players who aren't who are dual nationality, and
and the cricket team.
Yeah, and they're massively benefiting from it. So part of me wonders if rugby is just one of those sports that you end up going, this is a team of players who play in this country, and this is a team of players who play in that country, and this is a team of players.
There's a difference between dual nationality though and shoehorning someone in just to nationalise them over 3 years. There's a massive difference.
There's a significant difference, totally. Yeah,
massive difference.
But England have also shoehorned people in. So
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I wasn't suggesting that they're just using the dual nationality players.
Yeah,
there's certainly like, and then there's obviously the New Zealand case where.
Pacific Islands get
the great religious churches of New Zealand find these young strapping boys and ship them over for religious education, who also happen to be very good at rugby. Yeah. She's like, oh, how did you get picked? Well, I was the best at rugby. So, but also I needed Jesus in my life more than everybody else. I was the tearaway. Right, I'm not cynical about that at all. This week on OTB AM, we've been giving away some fantastic prizes with thanks to Dominic Smith, Expert Electrical. You can still enter this morning's competition for a €100 voucher for the store all the way up until 10 o'clock today, by the way. You can put your name in the hat for Friday's overall prize of a fantastic Sony TV and home entertainment system.